If you're watching this right now, prepare yourself, because what I'm about to reveal is not just another rumor, not just another piece of gossip. This is the original video, the unedited truth, the chilling evidence handed over by Direct Ching himself, footage that shows how 11 people took turns humiliating Yu Menglong to his death. For weeks, we've only had fragments, whispers, speculation, but this is the raw, undeniable truth. In the next few minutes, you're going to see how one of the brightest stars in Chinese entertainment was systematically broken, step by step, in a way so brutal, so calculated, that it will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the industry. Stay with me, because what you're about to hear will not only change the way you see Yu Menglong's tragic end, it will make you wonder who else might be suffering in silence right now. The moment Direct Ching's name surfaced, the entire story took a wild turn. Known for being discreet, sharp, and dangerously well-connected, Ching wasn't the kind of man who involved himself unless he had something the world wasn't ready to handle. And when he placed the sealed hard drive on the table, eyes darting, whispers filling the room, everyone knew this was the one piece of evidence too powerful to ignore. The original, untouched video. No edits. No cuts. Just pure, horrifying truth. The first frame was shaky, almost handheld, as though someone had been trying to hide the camera. But within seconds, the image sharpened, and there was Yu Menglong, restrained, surrounded, his usually calm expression twisted in fear. His eyes darted around the dimly lit room, scanning the faces of the 11 people who stood around him, one after another, their shadows stretching across the walls like demons circling prey. And here's the detail that sent chills through everyone who saw it: they weren't strangers. These were people Menglong knew. People he trusted. Some, even, who had smiled beside him in public. The video didn't begin with violence. No. It started with humiliation. And that was what made it so sinister. They laughed at him, mocked him, called him names that were designed to cut deeper than any blade. Each of the 11 had their turn. They pushed him to admit things that weren't true, to degrade himself, to repeat words they forced into his mouth. It was psychological warfare, and the longer it went on, the clearer it became this was no random act. This was planned. Carefully. Ruthlessly. At one point in the footage, someone leaned in close, their voice low but caught perfectly by the mic. "You'll never escape this. Even if you survive, you're already destroyed." The look in Menglong's eyes at that moment was unforgettable, a silent scream, a drowning man reaching for a rope that wasn't there. Direct Ching paused the video there when first presenting it. The room was silent, no one even breathing. And then he pressed play again, and the cruelty escalated. One after another, they made him kneel. They splashed water on his face, not to refresh him, but to mimic drowning. They shoved him forward, forcing him to stumble, only to drag him back again, each one eager to leave their mark. But it wasn't only physical. The humiliation was designed to strip him of everything: his dignity, his pride, even his identity. They forced him to watch recordings of himself, smiling, performing, adored by millions, while they jeered that none of it was real. That the world only loved the mask, not the man. Can you imagine? To take someone's very essence and turn it against them? And here's the shocking part: the camera often shifted focus. It didn't just stay on Menglong. No. It lingered on the faces of those 11 individuals, documenting their smirks, their cold glares, their satisfaction. It was as though the person behind the camera wanted the world to know exactly who was responsible. One of the most gut-wrenching scenes came halfway through. They handed Menglong a glass, forcing him to drink, taunting him with each sip, calling it truth serum. Whether it was real or not didn't matter, the fear in his eyes said enough. He trembled, stammered, his voice cracking as they shouted questions, forcing him to answer things no human should be cornered to confess. At this point, his body was weakening, but the humiliation never slowed. One slapped him so hard the sound echoed through the room. Another shoved him to the ground, their foot pressing against his chest. And still, the camera kept rolling, documenting every second, every cruel laugh, every broken plea. Direct Ching's decision to release this wasn't random. Insiders whisper that he, too, was once targeted, though he never speaks of it. But watching Menglong's torment, Ching knew the world had to see. That was why he risked everything to hand it over. The final minutes of the video are what haunt people the most. Menglong, barely conscious, his breath shallow, whispered something no one expected. The audio was faint, but when enhanced, the words were clear. "Tell my mom. I tried." Those were his last words before the screen went black. The camera abruptly cut off. When the lights in the room came back, everyone sat frozen. Some in tears. Others pale, unable to comprehend the level of cruelty they had just witnessed. 11 people. 11 faces. 11 pairs of hands that played a role in breaking down a man whose only crime was shining too brightly in an industry that thrives in shadows. Now here's the question, what happens next? With Direct Ching handing over the video, the game has changed. It's no longer whispers or speculation, it's evidence. The authorities can't look away. The public won't stay silent. And for the first time, those 11 names that still remain locked away for now, are under a spotlight they cannot escape. The chilling reality is this: if Yu Menglong, adored by millions, could be silenced in such a brutal way, who else might be suffering the same fate behind closed doors? Who else is being humiliated, broken, and crushed while the cameras we see only show smiles and laughter? This story isn't just about Menglong anymore. It's about the darkness that thrives in silence. And thanks to Direct Ching, the silence is finally broken. So now, I ask you, what do you think should be done? Should the 11 be publicly named and shamed? Should they face prison for what they did? Or does this go even deeper, into a system designed to destroy those who refuse to obey? When Direct Ching finally slid that hard drive across the polished table, it wasn't just a piece of technology, it was a weapon. A ticking bomb that could dismantle powerful names and unravel secrets buried deep in the entertainment world. The air in that room was suffocating. No one spoke. The weight of what was inside that drive seemed to press down on everyone, as though the walls themselves knew the darkness about to be revealed. The screen flickered once, twice, and then there he was. Yu Menglong. Not the actor we knew, not the smiling idol on posters, not the charming man on stage. No. This was Menglong stripped bare of everything, cornered, surrounded. His face was pale, his lips trembling, his eyes darting wildly from one tormentor to the next. 11 shadows loomed over him, circling like predators around weakened prey. What shocked everyone wasn't just the brutality, it was the method. They didn't rush in with fists or weapons. They took turns, like performers in a twisted show, each one determined to leave a scar that went deeper than the last. The first leaned forward, whispering into his ear, forcing him to repeat degrading lines while the others laughed. The camera caught the shame that washed over Menglong's face as he choked out words he didn't believe, words that shredded his pride. Then the second stepped in. A splash of water across his face, mock drowning. His gasp for air echoed like thunder in the silent room. They taunted him, clapped mockingly, daring him to cry, daring him to break. And still, the camera rolled, capturing every second of his unraveling. By the time the third tormentor moved forward, Menglong's hands were trembling. They shoved a chair under him, then yanked it away, forcing him to stumble, to fall, to get up again over and over until his knees bruised against the floor. The laughter grew louder with each fall, like a chorus of cruelty that drowned out his quiet, broken apologies. But what gripped the audience most wasn't the physical humiliation, it was the psychological torture. They pulled out photos of him at premieres, magazine covers, clips of him smiling and adored by fans. They shoved those images in his face, sneering, "This isn't you. This was never you. Without us, you're nothing." It wasn't enough to hurt his body, they wanted to annihilate his spirit. The fifth tormentor forced him to sing. His voice cracked, trembling with tears, every note a plea for mercy. They jeered, mocked his tone, clapped off-beat to throw him further into shame. It wasn't singing, it was a punishment, a twisted reminder that the voice millions once adored could now be used as a tool to destroy him. Direct Ching paused the footage at that moment during his presentation. The room erupted in gasps, some covering their mouths, others refusing to even look at the screen. And yet, he said nothing, he simply hit play again, as if reminding everyone, this is the truth. Don't look away. The seventh tormentor stepped forward with a glass in hand. They shoved it against his lips, commanding him to drink. Whether it was water or something darker, the effect was the same. Menglong trembled, swallowing with hesitation, his body jerking as if he feared poison with every drop. His eyes flickered with panic, but he had no choice. And in the background, laughter, always laughter, cruel, echoing, relentless. One of the most chilling moments came with the ninth. This one didn't yell, didn't strike, didn't even touch him. They simply crouched low, inches from his face, and whispered, "You'll never escape us. Even if you live through this night, we'll haunt you. You're already gone." The silence that followed was worse than any slap. Menglong's eyes filled with tears, not of pain, but of despair. Because deep down, he believed it. And still, the camera didn't stop. It recorded the 10th tormentor pressing him to the floor, their boot against his chest, suffocating his breath. The sound of him gasping, struggling, clawing at the ground, it was unbearable. People watching the footage later admitted they wanted to look away, but they couldn't. It was like staring into the abyss of human cruelty. Finally, the 11th stepped in. By then, Menglong was barely holding on. His hair was disheveled, his lips cracked, his breath shallow. They knelt beside him, lifted his chin with 2 fingers, and forced him to look straight into the camera. And that was when he whispered those words, soft, trembling, barely audible. "Tell my mom. I tried." The room fell silent. Direct Ching stopped the footage there, closing the laptop slowly, as though sealing away a ghost. No one spoke. No one breathed. Because what they had just witnessed wasn't just humiliation, it was the systematic destruction of a human being. The impact of that original video cannot be overstated. It is not just evidence, it is a scar carved into history, one that will never fade. And now that it's in the hands of the public, the question remains, who were those 11? And will justice finally come for Yu Menglong? The chilling part is this: the video wasn't meant to be found. Whoever filmed it wanted it buried. Hidden. Forgotten. But thanks to Direct Ching, it is out. And the world can no longer deny what happened behind those closed doors. Now, I want to turn to you, the viewers. Do you think the release of this video is enough to finally bring down those responsible? Should the names of the 11 be revealed immediately, or should authorities keep them sealed until charges are filed? And most importantly, how do you feel after hearing what Yu Menglong endured in those final moments? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Let your voice be heard, because silence only protects the guilty. And if you believe Yu Menglong's story deserves justice, make sure you like this video, share it with others, and subscribe to this channel so we can continue uncovering the truths they don't want you to know. The world has seen the video. Now the world must decide what happens next.